Now, I'm not going to lie, this is probably the most depressing Flat Earth video I have ever covered. And coming from me, you know, that really does mean something after all. If you follow me for any amount of time, you know I've seen some depressing stuff.
Could clouds be made of salt?
I don't know, some questions are too big to be answered. But for one group of Flat Earthers, there is no such thing as a question too big. The Globebusters have over 70,000 subscribers and they get together every single week to take on the big topics and share their expertise. And of course, I am playing fast and loose here with the term expertise. Watching the Globebusters try and tackle these big scientific questions is like watching a tuna fish try and put on a pair of gloves. You know it's never going to be capable of doing it, but you just can't stop yourself watching them try. But perhaps the kindest thing I can say about the Globebusters is that they don't let their complete lack of ability manifest into a complete lack of confidence. In fact, confidence is something they are definitely not short of, as the video introduction here will imply.
As many can attest, when you join the Globebusters community, you are given a new set of eyes. Now, we've studied Earth science before, but now that we've been given a new set of eyes, it is time to go back and tell you what we see. This is modern Earth science destroyed.
So the purpose of this stream is Kyle Adams, the lead Globebuster. He's going to give us a presentation on how earthquakes happen, and he's going to use all his flat Earth expertise to debunk the mainstream scientific explanation. Now, I will just say, if you were going to do this to a YouTube channel that had 70,000 subscribers, you might think it would be a good idea beforehand to learn how earthquakes actually occur. It seems that Kyle wants to do that on the job, and he opens up his presentation by reading a child's textbook.
Earthquakes are a result of elastic rebound. Elastic rebound is a sudden return of elasticity, a sudden return of elastically deformed rock to its undeformed shape. This process is shown right here.
So everybody watching the stream can now see that Kyle Adams for the first time has heard the word elastic rebound. And given the fact that he has absolutely no idea what this term means, he then asks his fellow Globebusters perhaps the dumbest question I have ever heard in my entire life.
We've got these three little illustrations here of this elastic rebound. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think there's enough elasticity in a mountain, for example, to cause a big effect?
Yes. Do we think that when it comes to earthquakes, there is enough elasticity in a mountain to have a big effect? Now, some questions simply can't be answered, not because they're too big and difficult, just because they are too fucking stupid. But no matter how stupid that question was, it is nowhere near as stupid as the answer Kyle receives. Be prepared for this. And obviously it is complicated because there is also sound in a mountain or something.
I think it's complicated because you have sound along with it, and I've seen sound have a crazy effect on solids, where it seems to, again, you'll see even like car doors seem to bend and things like that. So I do think that things that are solid, you'll get a little bit of things that seem rigid, again, under certain circumstances can become, like, again, when you think of quicksand or things like that, or hitting a hard surface, versus pushing it slowly. So I'm not sure if I caught enough of it to know where you were going with this, but do you think it's elastic, Kyle?
So I pass that answer to my team of expert translators, who then immediately died. Kyle Adams, however, moves on in the stream, and Karen B, a new panel member, joins, and he wants to catch her up on all the exciting science they've been discussing so far.
So, Karen, we were talking about elastic rebound, and we've experienced aftershocks, and here we're talking about some like elastic rebound when it comes to earthquakes in general here. And it sounds like there's a lot of rebound kind of coming here, but I don't know why this. Okay. Exactly. All these pictures trying to get the story out of it.
Fucking nailed it, Kyle. That was brilliant. I'm sure Karen is all the more wiser for that perfect explanation. Seriously, though, this is Mount Dunning-Kruger. The sheer hubris, the sheer misplaced confidence, thinking you can fire up a live stream to 70,000 people, read a child's textbook about earthquakes, and then debunk it on the fly while you obviously have absolutely no idea what the words you've just read mean. But he continues.
When I think of elasticity, I think about an object has one shape, it gets bent, and then all of a sudden it bounces back into its original position, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at these three pictures, and that's doesn't appear to be what I'm seeing. You know, I would have put this picture right here, and then kind of, why does it look out of order to me?
Ladies and gentlemen, let us not forget what we're watching here.
This is modern earth science destroyed.
Yeah, you are destroying it, Kyle, just not in the way that you had hoped. Now, this is where things start to get depressing for me, because Kyle is obviously so far out of his depth on this very basic, simple topic. But he's committed now to streaming in front of a live audience and two panel members that he's supposed to be educating. And I think it slowly starts to dawn on him that he has no idea what he should be saying. So he starts to spiral and say more and more unrelated and bizarre things, while his panel members just sit there wondering what they've done wrong to be on that stream with him.
When it comes to earthquakes, I'm also thinking about how just a large van or truck can go rumbling on by and you can feel it in the ground. Like the ground has a lot of vibrations that go through it anytime. If you've ridden a horse, I don't know, you've heard of this, the whole hold your ear to the ground kind of a thing. That kind of you think of that too.
Now, it's interesting Kyle should raise these highly academic points. Not a lot of people know this, but I have a master's degree in environmental science, and in one of our lectures we were being told about earthquakes, actually, and I remember the professor explaining it really well, saying that sometimes cars can rumble past, and have you ever ridden a horse or put your ear to the ground? And it was that kind of expert teaching that got me where I am today. Now, Kyle rumbles on, and it will come as no surprise that he makes a couple of minor errors. For example, we all know that an epicenter is the part of the Earth's surface which is directly above the focus of an earthquake. But epicenter has the word center in it. And given that Kyle is just about to learn about the word epicenter, he naturally assumes that it means the center or the middle of an entire fault line. And, let's just watch the car crash unfold.
We're getting to this point on epicenters, and how the focus is just kind of the center point along this fault line, and exactly how they determine the length of a fault line. I don't know how they come about in determining this is the exact center of it, without knowing like the edges. Where does the fault line begin and where does it end? But holding up a string, I can't really point to the center of a string unless I've got a beginning and an end. You know what I'm saying?
No, nobody knows what you are saying, Kyle. Not even you know what it is you are saying, Kyle. Right now is the time where you should be ending the stream and just thinking about your life choices, but you don't. You simply carry on.
Grinding two different cinder blocks together, okay? If you grind two different cinder blocks together, you're going to have the center of that be your focus, and then the top of that be your epicenter. And this ends up being something that we hear all the time. This earthquake took place at this place, and that's about where the focus was. And exactly why they're saying that, I don't fully understand that.
Well, colour me surprised. Kyle says he doesn't fully understand it. Who would have picked up on that? Now, he does, in this stream, at least attempt to debunk our understanding of earthquakes. And he uses, for that, obviously, a jelly roll. It's balmy. Here's his debunk.
The entire shift between all of that is happening in one spot when there's energy being released in all over the place. That, I think, just seems ludicrous to me. I kind of look at this jelly roll, and here you have just kind of focus on the center of the jelly roll, and just think about activity happening all along that center, and yet they're saying that it's just in one point. It's right there. When
But
they're essentially saying there's only cream at one point in the jelly roll when you can clearly see that there's cream like all the way through it.
Kyle Adams stunning his friends into silence with his utter stupidity. And this is where I started to feel really cringy for him, because he was obviously totally like a fish out of water, totally struggling. Even his panel members had no interest in anything he had to say and were just sitting in silence. And I managed to get a couple of minutes further where it dawned on Kyle that he was just talking to himself and being completely ignored by everybody else. And I had to turn off. It was just too cringy for me. It's really embarrassing. So here it is.
In 1909, Andrija Mohorova, a Croatian scientist, discovered that the speed of seismic waves increases abruptly at about 30 kilometers depth because the surface of beneath the surface of continents. The location at which the speed of the waves increases marks the boundary between the crust and the mantle. Okay, just kind of getting into this stuff about mantle, core, lithosphere, all these different layers that we can't really observe that they're there. The borehole is only so deep, but it's like hardly anything on a globe yet. They're claiming to know everything based off of these P waves and S waves. And the existence of these shadow zones. Do you have any thoughts on that so far? I feel like I'm doing a lot of the talking here.
You're doing all the talking, Cal, because you've bored and confused them to death. I don't know what to say to help you other than just stop. Just stop trolling yourself like this. It is incredible. Anyway, let's check out some of the comments from the video. And here it is, the one comment left on the video. A video that had 717 views. It seems that Kyle also bored and confused all the viewers to death as well. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. Well, actually, I should laugh, because if you're going to try and convince thousands of people to turn their back on science and go down one of these delusional anti-science rabbit holes, then you do deserve what you say and your lack of understanding to be held up there for scrutiny. Now, Globebusters have 70,000 subscribers, which is about 70,000 more than I've got-ish. Maybe 50,000 more. If you could help me out, I'd be greatly appreciative of that. I'll be back tomorrow or Tuesday. Bye.